Here we are looking at the section Site Administration Grades. First, let's take a look at the general settings. In this section, we have different roles we can, and this setting allows us to control who appears on the grade book, who is graded. For example, here students are graded, and the other option is about user profile report, that the grade report is used on user profile page. And here we determine the position of the category and course total columns to be displayed last or first. And here we determine to include scales in aggregation. Show submitted date for hidden grades. So we can enable it. In this way, we can display the date of submission for hidden grades, for if the users cannot see the hidden grades. So instead, submission dates are displayed. Enable publishing means that the grades can be published outside Moodle, include feedback in export. During export, we can include feedback. Also here we can determine how grades can be displayed during export, for example, as real, as actual grade, as letter, as percentage. Also, we can determine the number of decimal places. The grades during export, grades are rounded to 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places, or 5 decimal places. And we have other options, other settings are about user profile fields and custom profile fields that we can, for example, here we can include some information such as first name, last name, ID number, institution, department, in emails of the users beside grades during export. Sometimes recovered grades default, sometimes the users unenroll and then enroll again, and then if we enable it, their all grades can be recovered. And primary grade export methods, we can determine the formats that the grades are displayed during export. Unlimited grades, if we enable it, so it allows grades of over 100% to be entered directly in the grade book. But if we, as default, it's no, it means that the grades are limited by maximum and minimum values of grade item. Then we have settings about minimum and maximum grade points, or for example, minimum and maximum grades during calculating the grades. For example, we have also initial minimum and maximum grades So this setting determines to use initial minimum and maximum grades from when the grade was given. And if we use external gradeboard, so we need to provide a link and we need to provide URL here. Then let's go back to grades. The next section is grade category setting. Here we have, this setting is about aggregation, how grades in category are combined. For example, as highest grade, as lowest grade, as natural, it means that the sum of all grade values scaled by weight. And here it shows available aggregation types, and exclude empty grades sometimes. Assignment, submission, or quiz hasn't been graded, so it has been it is missing from the grade book, so we can exclude empty grades. Then also we can include outcomes in aggregation. Here we have the other settings are about highest grades and lowest grades. We can keep highest grades and we can drop the lowest grade. And also we can determine the number. For example, 6 highest grades, we can keep it, or we can drop 6 the 6th lowest grade. We can exclude it from the aggregation. And then allow category grades to be manually overridden. So if we allow it, so it is possible for users to override the category grades manually. The next section is about grade item setting. So here we have a range of settings that we can determine how grades are displayed, as letter, as percentage, as actual grades. And we can determine decimal places, the number of decimal places, 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places. Each grade is rounded to, for example, 2 decimal places. And also we have other options, but as default, we have item information, ID number, grade to pass. So we can choose all these elements to be displayed as advanced when editing grade items. Then scales. Here we have as administrator, we can add standard scales. We can determine standard scales. We can add a new scale. Here we can write the name of scale. Here we can provide scales, for example, not very good, average, very good, excellent. And then here we have options to describe it and then save changes. Then we have letters. Here we have letters. For example, letter A shows the grade between 93% to 100, but we can edit it. Graded reports. This setting determines how many students should be displayed per page, or if you like to show just active users. Or this setting or other settings, for example, quick grading, quick feedback, it means that it allows at the same time many grades can be edited, or at the same time it allows the feedback for many grades to be edited. It's selected for column averages, so default is non-empty grades. So this setting determines whether cells, the columns with no grade should be included or shouldn't be included when calculating the mean for each grade. Enable Ajax. It makes grading easier and faster if you enable it. And we have other settings for adding icons. For example, for short calculation, we can add a calculator icon for each grade item, or show hide icon, or we can add show column averages, means that we can add another row to display the mean for each grade. We can add lock or unlock icon for each grade, and we can add again additional row to show the range for each grade, or we can add icon analysis icon for providing more detailed explanation for each grade, or show user profile images, means the user profile image is displayed beside the grade report, or we can add activity icon. The number of, we can hide or show the number of grades for evaluating, when evaluating for calculating the mean. Column average display type, so the mean, the average, how the average is displayed, as real grade, as percentage, as letter. And also it's about range display type, the range, how the range is displayed. Decimal, in column average, the number of decimal places, you determine the number of decimal places to display for each average, or for each range. Okay, grade report, grade history. This setting determines how many history entries should be displayed per page in the history report. 50, maybe you like to include more history entries. It's up to you. overview reports, show rank. So this setting shows shows ranking of students compared to other students. You can rank students compared to other class for each grade. And here we have hide totals if they contain hidden items. So we can hide or show totals which contain hidden items. User reports. Here again we have a setting for showing for ranking students compared to other students. For each grade, we can show percentage, grades, feedback, ranges, a column for the range, weighings, average, letter grades. Again, we can determine the number of decimal places. Show hidden items. If we use only hidden until means that the grade items are hidden until specific dates. And hide totals if they contain hidden items. So you can hide or show totals which contain hidden items. Or you can show totals excluding hidden items or including hidden items. And show contribution to course total means that it shows a column indicating how much each grade is contributed to the course total percentage of the user.